habitual reaction, and in one reaction, all can be told. Yeah, you just see it. Yes, just see it. The words enlightenment. One of the definitions is cessation of all suffering. Complete cessation. Yet, many of us who are seeking enlightenment, enlightenment is causing suffering. The word. I mean, yeah. Would you have to go, do more research? I mean, it just shows you right there. Yeah.
Doesn't the resistance come in straight away? Like what you're saying is true and hits home for a split second, and then.
Yes, that's good. There's a resistance to it, because then you see what you're not. Yeah, that's the good. See, if you keep thinking it's you don't want to see it. You've seen enough. It seems like it's more responsibility and more weight. I don't want any more revelations if it's about me. The good news, it isn't. Yeah, it's the same information, the same collating, it's the same harvesting, but when it's looked at or seen, it's not seen as referring to you, it's seen as not you. It's not changing any of the wheat or the barley or the weight or how many tons. It's not doing anything like that. That has to do with skillful means and traveling a little lighter as the action figure. This is an inherent lightness based on the interpretation of all the information is completely different. One interpretation is all this shit's about me. I'm somehow involved in everything. I'm the doing, the thinking, the feeling. I'm responsible how you feel. I made you feel, whatever it is. Or you see the same reaction but not as you. Yeah? So Sad's saying can replace the one. It's sort of like here's all the data. It has to go through a filter. So, yeah, it says in people who are involved in the Course in Miracles here, it says right in the book, The Course in Miracles, the brain interprets to the body, of which it is a part. Yeah? So when the brain is taking in all this information, it's pertaining it to you as a body. What more do you need? If you saw that, that's like end of story, if it hits you. If that hits you, really, it's end of story. All right, so this thing, its biases, whatever is taken in and interpreted or collated, it's interpreted or collated to the body, which you're not. Yeah? It just doesn't it seem that a lot of opportunities for things to go awry would be rooted in that? Yeah? And then there's trying to do it over or make up for it, but as that. Yeah? So now that which you're not wants to get out of that which it's not. Yeah? It's double. It's worse in a way. Then you got, yeah. So I think Hoang Po, beautiful, very beautiful. Whatever can be perceived. Yes? You're perceiving this, yeah? Or there's a perceiving of this, yes? And it's given a name, Paul, okay? I seem to be perceiving you as this separate little cutout, yeah? And therefore, it's completely allowing, that statement is completely allowing to perceiving. It's just correcting how it's collated, because how the head collates the perceiving, it believes this is the perceiver, yeah? It doesn't see that which is perceived cannot be perceiving. It's a totally opposite interpretation, completely. So all it's going to do is like, there'll be more branches, there'll be more twigs from the branch, on and on, but the root's exactly there. One goes this way, the other goes the other way. It's the essence of duality, yeah? So, yes, whatever can be perceived, everything here in this room that's called the name and everything else, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Yes? Or the simple thing of, What's seen can't be seen, what's hearing can't be heard, what's feeling can't be felt, what's tasted can't be tasted, what's tasting can't be tasted, yes? So you can take a sound, like there's a lot of sound here, yeah, in the silence, a lot of loudness in some respects, yeah? For some people, they have maybe titinus or whatever, or it's the celestial spheres of the music, of the spheres, yes? But there's this constant sound going on, yeah? If you follow that constant sound, what's hearing it is not a sound. There's something that's hearing it that can't be heard. It just ends. So let's say you're laying there and there's that dog, something just yelped, yeah? And then behind that there would be the sound of traffic, like in the morning here. You can hear traffic when in the afternoon and night it's pretty quiet, yeah? So you hear that, okay? Then you take it to, okay, I'm hearing the wind. Okay, I'm hearing the breath, yeah? Or I'm sensing the heartbeat, okay? And you keep taking it back, and then you get to the sound. This, like almost the generator is off, you know, when something's on, it hums. It's not doing anything. It's not moving a boulder or shit. It's just humming. It's on, yeah? So you're there, and the sound of the breath coming, the wind, you know, the air coming through here is after that sound. There's no other sound that's before the sound. And yet it's met with that which is hearing it, yeah? It ain't you, but there's a hearing of that sound. That's the closest sound that you can find if you take everything back, and it's constant. It's constantly on. In a sense, you may not be hearing it, but it's constantly on. And then if you take it far back, that's the end of the road, and then there's that which is hearing everything. That can't be heard. That's us. You can't go any farther than that, yeah? You can take anything. That's what Ramana was seemingly, what I see in some of his stuff is, he would say, you know, in his speaking, self is everything. It's the big S, self. It's not like in recovery, self is seen as something foreign. But in Ramana's thing, self is everything. And he believed through self-inquiry, if you follow anything, any sound, any thought, it's always going to go back to that. There's all roads lead to that. All senses lead to that. Yeah, all perceiving leads to that. So when you ask, who am I? Yeah, to have the two poles of the fake beginning or the fake alpha or the fake source negate each other, and there it is. Spare on. Yeah, there's no need to say anything at that point. You've reached eureka, so to speak, and then you just rest. And then he would say, if the head seems to move and you go with it, just ask, who is it? Who is it that's gone with the head? You'll see it's not you, and after a while, yeah, you'll see it's not you. It'll be like a habit. So you won't believe that you went when the head goes. You won't believe you're getting closer when the head comes closer. You'll never, in a sense, leave the everywhere, yeah? And a lot of this bogus shit that comes up with all this stops having an effect. Even though it's presented like you're really disconnected, yeah? You're not moved, yeah? Because now you're not calling a movement of the head you, yeah? You see it as what you're not, yeah? That's the whole difference. The difference of the message is what's the receptacle, because the receptacle is conscious, yeah? So it's conscious of either this is all about me, or it's conscious that it's not about me, yeah? The consciousness is the same. It's just what's leading it? Is it leading it to the premise that it's all about you, you know? You're the thinker, you're the feeler, you're the one going over this, or it's not about you. It's the same information. Both ways you're seeing it, yeah? Both ways it's appearing. The thoughts are appearing, yeah? these opinions are appearing, these conclusions are appearing, and usually the appearance of them are used to imply a previous, always appeared you, which has never appeared. It's like the Zen with the, pointing to the moon, but in this case, it's not even a moon. It's just pointing. There's no moon. There's no self. Yeah, it's just pointing, pointing, pointing. And when it says something, we go, we just look a certain way, seemingly. There's a movement, and we take that movement to be us. And this message is to take that movement not to be us. It's that simple. It's going to be taken one way or the other in a dualistic frame. So now this is not the solution. The solution is before everything, but this is the antidote, because the head is taking everything that that's seeing, not by the head, by what we are, and collating it, using it to imply a story, which it feeds and reinforces and has a lot of agreement with a lot of other stories. Yeah. And you can see that, you can see the story, you can see the print of the author on the page and not be it, yeah? Or you can see the same shit and think you are it, yeah? And then suddenly you want to get out of shit you're not in, yeah? You're thinking you're going forward when you're going backward. You think the cart, it has the engine and the horse is stable and stationary instead of the other way around. And so this is just a simple recognition of the same information. We're not changing the information. You don't have to, I just have to have good thoughts or fucking celestial concepts. No, it can be dog shit, whatever, but the conclusion is different. Yeah. Either the conclusion that it's you, just like a habit, of course I'm the thinker. Who else is thinking? You know what I mean? That's questioned. That's all. And you come to satsang for one reason, to reinforce that. And after a while, you don't arrive at the conclusion. You live from that conclusion. You are the seeing of what you're not, really. As an activity here, you and I are the seeing of what we're not. That's the intimacy of what we are. How what we are gets intimated is seeing what we're not. How what you're not gets intimated is by claiming the seeing of what you're not to be about it, to be about this fake what you are. That's all. If the information doesn't have to stop. It doesn't. There's no, I've got to have, I have to cultivate the soil of the mind with good thoughts. No, because that's a thought in and of itself. Yes? Whatever you're thinking you're going to do, there's a doer involved. That's the bondage. Yes? So that's why you're not moved. Yeah? When it says, you're way far off, you're not buying tickets. You're not, how do I get back? I haven't gone anywhere. How would I get back? All the wanting to get back reinforces the insane idea that you left. And this is the old yogic mantra I saw. I was in Philadelphia at a yoga studio, and we're going to give a talk. And I read the lady had translated this famous thing, gone, 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 to the other shore upon arriving on having never left. Yeah? So I said, wow. Yeah. So what would happen? Okay, gone, 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 to the other shore, upon arriving on having never left. Or, yes? Now, let's start with on having never left. There may be one gone. You may buy 2 tickets for a trip. It'll be gone, maybe. Other shore, okay, if it's easy, I can get first class or whatever. And then you realize on having never left. Yes? So it whittles down the gone, gone, gone. Forget the other shore. And basically, it just boils to on having never left. Yeah?
No need to buy a ticket.
What?
No,
exactly. And if you buy a ticket, hey,
no problem.
You arrive, you have the joy and feeling of excitement of arriving, and you get whacked the same way on having never left. Yeah. And then you know after a while you're on the trip, on having never left. Yeah. So the other shore is the same shore, but hey, we got to do something. So let's arrive at the other shore. Because it's going to whack you with on having never left. There's never going to change. There's never a new greeting. When you arrive to where you are, it's always greeted with on having never left. I think, just, you know, we used to joke in early Zen Bitsat. I'd ask people how much they thought they spent for a year in spirituality, you know. Some people about 8,000, 10,000 bucks, 20,000 bucks. Yeah. I said, listen, I want you to tithe at least 25% of what you save after you come to the satsangs. Do you know what I mean? If it's 20,000, now you're spending like 800. You know, give me like 3,000. I think it's a good deal. You're still coming out with 15,000 extra. But it was a joke, but it wasn't a joke. Because seriously, how many times do you have to arrive on having never left? Sooner or later, it's gonna click. Yeah, it's all this activity only has a finite engine. It's always going to run out in regards to infinity. Yeah. So basically, when something hits you and it tells you it's always been this way, the idea of longing is drops, or you've missed out. I wish I would have gotten this sooner. It makes absolutely no sense anymore, because every moment of time is the moment in time. Even if it's next week or last week, when you arrive there, it's now. There's no, oh, I wish I would. No, there's none of that shit. All the little alleyways that have like big highway signs, but they only go about a block or two. You just don't turn in them anymore. Yeah. So you're here. I was just here in that water. You're here. Here with the second cappuccino that none of you got at the other restaurant. Here with the freaking taste of pistachio thing. Here now. Yeah. You can't, no one escapes the parameters of here and now. Never. Yeah, that's the great wisdom of no escape. No matter how much your head says you've gone somewhere, you've never left here and now. So why are you looking to arrive if you've never left? Upon having never left. So now you look for shit that can be found, you know. Nice leather bag. Yeah, some pants. Yeah, a nicer seat. Yeah, you'll be successful. But you won't be spending any time looking for what can't be found. Like yesterday, Amelia thought Chris was lost. Yeah. We thought we lost Chris. He was somewhere in some airport somewhere. And she was calling and looking, Chris, you know. And it was like that old story with the lady from India with that beautiful necklace, and then she loses the necklace, and she's super bummed out. And she's complaining to a lot of her friends, and then she asks them, will you help me find this necklace? It's so important to me. And so they all go, okay, and they start looking for the necklace, and they hear that someone in the north says they found a necklace, and so they start going to talks, and the guy says, yes, I can teach you how to find a necklace. I found the necklace, whatever. And there she's having so much hope, and she's hoping, and because she's so bummed out she lost the necklace. Then someone comes in and says, hey, what's that around your neck? And then she feels that it's the necklace. Yeah. So now she thinks she's found it, but it was never lost. It was always there. Yeah, and this is the causeless effect. So when we talked about with the dreaming, who's here, I don't know if they're here right now. Yeah, the lady was bummed out when she believed she lost the necklace, but she hadn't lost the necklace. But yet she was bummed out. And she gave the reason why she was bummed out was the loss of the necklace. So that was an uncaused effect, yes, because she hasn't lost the necklace. And when she thought she found the necklace, she was so happy. She had a lot of joy, thinking it was because she found the necklace, but she had never lost the necklace. Yeah, this is it. But the point is, it's like we did the thing in recovery to get a message across about, I don't know what, it was the old Poopa Scoopa story. And was trying to get something across to people. So the Poopa Scoopa story is like this guy, he has a beautiful house, big backyard, pristine. He rents it out for weddings, and he has like lawn bowling tournaments, and every day he jumps on it, jumps off his porch with no shoes and does angel wings on the grass and in the dew, and he just loves it. And then one day he jumps and he lands on some shit, yeah? And so he's going, what? And it's the smells, and he comes on the porch, and there goes the walking with no shoes on the lawn. He starts having to wear boots, yeah? Then he decides, fuck it, I'll just come back later. Everything should be all right. Goes back a couple hours later, there's a lot of shit all over the place, smells like terrible. Well, he goes back to his house, draws the blinds, just tries to ignore it, starts watching like the Kentucky Derby with bluegrass and lawn shows and shit. And then he starts bitching to his friends, and a lot of them are having the same problem. And everyone's bitching about, man, I can't even use my lawn anymore. There's so much fucking shit on it. And so he sees something on the internet, and he orders a Poopa Scooper. Yeah? And he finds that he's pretty good. He picks shit up pretty fast. And after a couple hours, he can get like a 3x7 foot piece of lawn pretty clean for a few hours. Yeah, and so no more lawn tournaments, nothing, no weddings, nothing. But he gets this, and he works really hard, and he starts sharing with the people who are having a hard time, and they're going, they start taking his advice, and he becomes like a circuit speaker, you know. And now he's using two at the same time, and he's called Mr. Poopa Scooper. Writes a book, and he's on tour. He's got autographed Poopa Scoopers. He thinks he has a solution. Yeah, he's the one who knows. He's the master of picking up shit, and a lot of people are having the same problem. So some dude shows up to him and says, hey, I heard you had a problem. He says, no, I'm the fucking man with the solution. I'm the master Poopa Scooper. So the guy goes, well, why don't you just find the dog, you know? And so you would think he would jump right into the solution, but the head's got a huge investment with his solution. It's his whole career. It's how he makes a living. He gets a lot of respect. He has pride, self-esteem. He meets babes, you know. Got the leather jacket with Mr. Poopa Scooper on it, whatever. He thinks he has a solution, but the solution is find the dog. Yeah. So the solution is on having never left. It's not on arriving. That's the solution. The solution isn't combined with a problem. It stands alone. Yeah? There's problems and solutions, but this is not an aspect of that. It's a prior solution that has no problem. Yeah? On having never left. So you keep on taking trips. You keep on getting hit with on having never left. Sooner or later, it's going to settle in, inevitably. If you need support, satsang's pretty powerful. And then you start living as if you've never left what you've been looking for. Yeah. Yeah. Then you can, you never get gypped. You're awake all the time, sleeping, dreaming, daytime. Yeah. I wanted to get out of here since I was 6 years old, big time. I was. This figure was driven to escape. And I found different ways to do it. First it was science fiction and Edgar Allan Poe when I was a kid, or horror movies. And then it was lots of books then. Then it was drinking. Then it was right to drugs, hallucinants. Then it went to narcotics. Then it went to spirituality. Then that seemed to fail, back to narcotics. And just got washed up to the point where I wasn't partying. It was an occupation. I had to stay loaded because I had a lot of shit I was trying to avoid. Yeah, a lot of stuff, like a huge weather front that I was annoyed. Did not want to have that rain on me. So what happened was I gave up finally. Spent 2 years in a program. I'm going to talk about the action figure. 85. There are certain things about addicts, principles, and that is certain addicts are willing to pay any consequence tomorrow not to feel uncomfortable now. And you're in a very deep sense, mostly reinforced by the mental activity of discomfort, irritability, restlessness. You'll have to do almost anything to change how you feel. Seems to be like a very strong imperative, almost like a radioactive urge that you can't say no to. Yeah? Even though you know everything about it, knowledge isn't doing shit. Your love of your parents doesn't doing shit. Love of a significant doesn't do shit. Children doesn't do shit. Nothing. Yes? So I go into this program 2 years, graduate, flying colors. I do fantastic in an institutional setting. When people are managing my life for me, tend to do better. Come out, just easy prey, mental parasite, says, hey, why don't you go to this bar you used to go to? Yeah, go to that bar, buy some cocaine, open the cocaine, and then Jack Nicholson comes out of the door, bathroom door in The Shining. Here's Johnny, taken over again, 10 months, 10-month run, worse than ever, really, worse than ever. At that point, what you knew in a certain area were where the best bathrooms with the best locks were in restaurants, so you could shoot up in them, because you weren't hanging out at anyone's house anymore. No one wanted to see you. So you had to go to some Chinese restaurant with a big lock, lock it in there and do it in there, and then just walk. Oh, maybe I'll have dumplings. Oh, no, I've changed my mind. I mean, it was bad. So gave up all fucking hope, really, seriously, just totally. And I just wanted to stay obliterated before I went to jail again, institution of death, yeah? And I was minding my own business, pursuing that activity. Blackouts are things that happen a lot to people in drugs and alcohol. Came out of a blackout, and it's like, when you come out of a blackout, it's like you've parachuted behind enemy lines. You're not, the geography seems foreign. And you're thinking everyone knows you've been gone, but no one. There's been a Paul there. It just wasn't the Paul you think you are. Yeah? And I'm sitting across from a guy with a big face, head with bulbous nose and varicose veins. Don't know who he is. I look outside, there's hang gliders out there. I've seen this place before. It's a hang gliding airport in Calistoga, 2 hours north of San Francisco. That's where I last remembered being. I'm looking at this guy passing a bottle of Royal Gate vodka, and I say to myself, this guy's a fucking bum, literally. And then I look at him, and it looks like he's looking at me like I was a bum. And then the stream stopped, which I never thought was possible. It came to the whole thing, and then the screen was erased. And then there was a public announcement flashed, like a CNN news flash, which was, you're fucked. And then I had been keeping out that so much, like Arnie Schwarzenegger, Muscles of the Nile. It finally collapsed on me. And then it said, and you're not managerial quality. Very simple, very clearly. And then it conspired things to happen that day that brought me to a recovery meeting, which I had no intention of seeing 5 minutes before this happened at this trailer park. I end up in an AA meeting that night, and I've been sober ever since, 34 years. Never had a strong feeling or thought about drinking or using. The urge was taken right out. Incredible. Now, there was a lot of damage, and this had to recover quite a lot from a lot of things, but that was done. It's like that and non-duality have been the greatest solutions I run into here. and from what they appear as a solution, tell me most solutions are bogus, really. They demand a lot of maintenance, and they erode quickly, and they're usually overtaken by the problem, usually, or they become a problem. But this whack, yeah, and then the non-duality whack. Yeah. And then I realized so clearly something is always doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. Yeah. And that idea of not being managerial quality has never changed. I was convinced, which is amazing. I didn't know I had that ability, but I do. I have the ability to be convinced, and I believe that's what satsang does. Satsang presents an understanding to bring out the misunderstandings, and when you see through the misunderstandings, there'll be a convincing. Yes? And it's not like you have to fight the current, or you have to keep digging a dike or a dam to keep it back. It just dries up. Yeah, you get that. You can't be out of a moment. So you have no interest in getting into the moment. Yeah. You realize you can't arrive, so you lose all interest in that based on having never left. It just shrinks up all that urge of seeking and shit. And then you see how all the stuff that's going on to seemingly free us is reinforcing the us that we need to be free from. Yeah? And Ramana says a beautiful thing many times in his writings. It's not his writings, but his teachings that people wrote about. He says it in different ways, but the one way that stuck with me, because I don't have any of the other books, which is this presupposing, which what does that pre mean? It means something happens in time. So that there's a mental supposing of an idea, and that idea is that there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing being that which is existing. Really? So then the animating quality has been attributed to the body that it's animating. So now the body is seen as the animating quality, when the body is sort of the shade. Yeah, it's not the light bulb. It's mistaking the light going through the shade as if the shade is the source of the light. Yes? It's ignorant. It misses it. It believes the shade is the source of the light when it's the light shining through the shade. Yeah? So it says the presupposing of this non-existent thing, and then when that's in place, wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. Yeah? Now, if salvation was based on the non-existent thing, it would always be available, because it's a non-existent thing. Yes? Yeah? But now the non-existent thing is taking itself to be the animation. And then what happens? Then the non-existent things, spiritual practices, are reinforcing it. How can they destroy it? Yeah, that's a damn good shoe to put on at any spiritual group and see if it fits, because it's explaining a whole lot. There's an identification as something that you're not, and you're trying to be free as that something that you're not, while at every moment what you're looking for is what's looking. You're already that which you're seeking. You can't see it because the seeing is being used to look. Yeah? And the looking is the blindness to that which is seeing. That which is seeing is not blind. There's a blindness to that which is seen by us looking all day. Yeah? That's the problem with the seeking. It reinforces the seeker, not what's being sought. Its purpose is not to find what's sought, because it knows better. It's to reinforce the idea of the seeker. Yeah? And the seeker doesn't want to arrive at the sought. It doesn't. Yeah? That's why it will sign up for a very long program of becoming what it is. It never wants to be what it is. It will sign up for many years and arduous practice to become it, because it knows that's never going to happen, because it already is it. Yeah, that's what it doesn't want to face up to. So you don't sign it up with this message. You see you're not that. So whatever opinion it's holding doesn't apply to you. Yes? Yes. The seeking can go on, and it has a value because it points out that there is no seeker. Hallelujah. Everything gets used to arrive at that different position, which is, I'm not that. Instead of, oh, all this means I'm that. No, all this means I'm not that. That's the difference of satsang. The satsang, we're not advancing a process or a program. We're not getting more subtle so we can reach different stages. We're negating that. We're negating all that is taken to be us as not us. And then by seeing what you're not, you'll find out what you are. You can't know it. It's impossible because you're it. You can't experience it. It influences all experiences. It's not an experience. You'd have to be separate to know it. You'd have to be separate to study it. And you're not, unfortunately, for the head. It would love not to be it. Yeah. So, hopefully that's the point of this. That's why I always loved the direction of negation, because the affirmation is a living one. It's not a spoken one. It's not a remembered one. It's not a chanted one. It's a living one. You're living it, yes? And in the living of it, you see what you're not, yes? And when the head keeps saying, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me, I'm not that, yes? And any movement, when the aperture of whatever awareness is occurring, being defined by these activities, when that aperture opens, you know the understanding that the head's going to claim it, and going to say, I'm the one who's seeing this clearly. And then you use the same information. Once again, I'm not that. Yeah? And then when more clarity opens up, and it's going to arise, you're not doing it. It's mechanical. You're not going to reach a point where you stop choosing to do it. You're never doing it. It's mechanical. The programming reasserts the sheep. No matter how much of the lion is revealed, it will say it's having a lion revelation as a sheep. Yeah. It's not going to stop because you think you've gotten it. It's not following the program. It's following its program. Anything, wherever it's like coming out of a blackout, wherever it is, it's you. All right? So now I'm seeing, oh, I was the thief, but now I'm super clear. No, that's the policeman. And for some people, the policeman's worse than the thief. At least you'd have fun as the thief. Now you've got a fucking stick up your ass, and now you have to be perfect. I mean, everything you do, I do it perfectly. Fuck, it was like terrible. That's what happened with me. I was with that spiritual teacher. Being an alcoholic, I could never just leave. I had to blow every fucking thing up to give myself permission. So the only way I could leave that spiritual teacher was to get loaded. I got loaded. He gave me permission to be okay. So the policeman was worse than the thief. So people believe, the true me is seeing what I once was. That's not the true you. There's no seer that's true. It's the seeing. Yes? No matter how subtle, or the change of wardrobe or whatever can be perceived is not what's perceiving. Yeah. And the claiming of what's perceiving will always be clothed, will always have a wardrobe. It will appear to be a thing. And that thing is not what's perceiving. I don't care how clear it gets, that doesn't get clear. It has a limited pay scale. It can only go so fucking far. Yeah. And it's not going to, go along on the trail with you. It has a different agenda. It just does. Yeah. So. This is a beautiful message. I haven't done anything after this, except attend satsangs. And I've been more Paul Hedderman meetings than anyone here. And yet I've never attended one of them, ever. Seriously. I've never shown up. Yeah, so. And you know, I really love to emphasize, it's the message, not the messenger. Because the head always likes to put it on the thing that something's coming through. And that thing is always going to fail you. Just like every savior fails everyone. Because you don't need to be saved. Yeah? Teachers fail you. That's their value. So you find that you are the light upon yourself, as Buddha supposedly said. Be a light upon you, for yourself. Yes? So everything fails us. And that's hallelujah. That's the success of this whole place. Yeah? So that you stop, really, truly, how are you going to stop grabbing if something is always put in your hand? It's going to be an automatic trying to get it. And then you feel, oh, I know it now. There you go. And now it's neutered. It's like dead. It's like a stillborn. Yeah? You're looking to give birth to a new idea, and as soon as you claim it, and I know it, it's dead. It's dead. So then you got to go and try to find another idea. But your getting it is killing it. Yes? This is about being the hearing of the message, not the hearer of the message. So, yeah, that's it, I think. Okay? No, any questions tonight? Yep, Paula.
As what you are, how do you relate to Paul? Is there nonchalance? Is there love and appreciation?
How do I relate to Paul?
Yeah.
We're not on speaking terms. I don't know. It's like Mr. Ed, the talking horse. I don't know. It has its little drama. It has its field of meaning. Yeah? Yeah. But it's held in a much larger space. So, yeah. This is a very relaxed awareness thing. So I truly believe self-centeredness is a myopic view. Yeah. So most people are looking through a lens of self-centeredness, which is a myopic view. Yeah. And then there's vision, which is a panoramic view. Now, the myopic view, yes, cannot stand or put up with the panoramic view. Yeah. It has its own idea of a panoramic view as seen from a myopic view. But the panoramic view includes the myopic view. And so now you're seeing what you used to look from a panoramic view. And there's mercy in that. Yeah. There's like acceptance in that. It's like a toy. You wind up, it always goes right and crashes into the wall. You know what I mean? You want it to get to the kitchen, but it always does right. You don't fucking blame the toy. It's just that way. It just fucking goes right. Yeah. And then you find, to me, it was funny because I didn't, when I was young, I was bathed in acceptance by an Irish grandmother. Yeah, she brought me up unconditionally, seriously. I mean, she was like a goddess to me. It blew my mind when I was 18 years old, when I heard family talking about how my father and her were against each other. I had no idea. She was like a goddess. And then finally some chinks in the gold happened. I saw her as a human. But then it was basically barren. And then when there was a recognition that I was not that, I started to breathe something new, and it was acceptance, like an atmospheric change. Yeah, the urban renewal project stopped. Instead of destroying it or trying to build it up, it was just the budget went somewhere else. And I started to feel, you know, an aliveness, yeah? And that which was seemingly participating in an enslavement in this mental of there and then and whatever was now enriching the day. Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, whatever. It's sort of like here you're seeing, and then there's a small thing you see. So, it's a difference between looking from it and seeing it, yes? Yeah. It's the same thing like listening and hearing. Hearing is going to happen because you're awake, yes? So whatever's going on, there's going to be a hearing of it. It's the listening is something different, yeah? The listening would be like Buddhism when they say the cherishing of self. So the listening is like the cherishing of selfing. There's a listening, you think it's about you. Yeah, you do. You're waiting for the newest news, you know, you're listening. The hearing of it is different. It just allows a traveling lighter, yeah. Listening to it, it almost puts that myopic, yeah. Yeah, and you don't see much when you're looking intently to a certain, yeah, you miss everything. When the panoramic, you see a lot, and that's what you used to look from is seen. You see it, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have great faith in this message, great faith. I just heard it. I heard it. I went to one dude, and I could feel like it was an unspoken yes. You know, strange thing, like something in my gut just went ding, and then the other one over years was like a last answer, which is a damn good answer. When there was all the need to have any new answers was taken away, and it's been the last answer for years. Yeah, and all I do is have satsang. You know, we go to satsang, we enjoy it, and yeah, yeah. I don't think what's growing needs to be cultivated. I don't. I think it looks better when it's wild. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And then, like, people always want to ask, like, hypothetical things with a rote answer. There's no rote answer, you know? Like some people in AA I talk to, I tell them, hey, you're fucked. And, you know, whatever. And then the other person, I say, hey, let me drive you somewhere, whatever. I don't know. You just respond to the situation. Yeah? Yeah. And then, yeah. Like it says in the Course, there are no sins. There's just mistakes. And then everything can be corrected. Yes? Where's Mike and all the Course in Miracle people? Yes. So, yeah. You know what I mean? So if you're into the Course in Miracle, that must seem to be true to you. Yeah? Yeah? If there's no sins, it's just mistakes that can be corrected. So, did you ever really blow it? Or the Course also says, I think, you know, your greatest successes are your greatest failures, and your greatest failures are your greatest successes. It's just trying to, like, fuck with the mental logic. Yeah, because there's a reliance on the mental logic, and it's insane. Yeah, how are you what can a failed system show you? It's failed. That's the value of it. When is that gonna be seen? How about now? Yeah? Yeah. So whatever it takes, if you have to do something to feel better, you better do it. But not everyone has to do something. Yeah? See, if I don't feel a need to do something, I'm not going to do it. If you need to meditate, you better meditate. Because you're what's dreaming. You know, you're the reality. So if the reality steps up, I have to meditate, you better meditate. If it doesn't set it up here, you know, you're free from that. Yeah? You can't go, well, I have to meditate. No, you don't. You may. Yes? So there's no rote program. Non-duality doesn't have a path. It illuminates whatever's going on. It's not a path to illumination. Yeah? It can make this life a path to illumination, but it's the illuminating quality. You're it. Yeah? You're the light. Like another thing I loved with Huang Po was you cannot use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You can't use mind to seek mind. You can't use light to seek light. Could you be anything other than that to be taught like that too? Would he say that to anyone who wasn't a Buddha, mind and light? Of course not. No matter what person or what name was there, he saw the Buddha. And he was talking to the Buddha, trying not to get through you, not to you, but through you, because from this point of view, you're the obstacle. You're not that which is receiving the message. You're that which is deflecting the message. So he was talking to the Buddha, yeah, you know, trying to like send Steve around the corner for a half an hour and say, hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. And he did it 3 times. Buddha, light, and mind. I mean, usually in boxing, if you get knocked down 3 times, you're out. The fight called. You don't have like 5, you know. Buddha, mind, light, you're knocked out. No, the fight's called. You're it. I don't know. Wear that shoe. It was meant for all of us. Because we all are that Buddha, mind, and light. It was said maybe at 1200, it can be said right now. Nothing has changed. This is the message of non-duality. I may be wrong. I don't believe you arrive at what is the affirmation through affirmation. I think you arrive by negation. I do. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in it. I don't see it working any other way. Because if you're doing anything else, you're attempting to be what you are as what you're not. So seeing that is incredibly valuable. Seeing what you are not from what you are is incredibly valuable. Yes? So you see the selfing without self. Like they say, there's thinking without a thinker. Well, there's selfing without a self. Yeah. Selfing is the act of being identified as self. It's not, the verb is not the act of being identified and a noun. There's no noun. It's the act of being identified as self is a verb. Selfing. That's what the head is. And the head doesn't, when it does its little number, it has you as a historical self. It's not like, beware, beware, for thee will become self. It says you already are one, really, doesn't it? The assumption is, it's like Catholicism. You got an original sin before you did anything. It's like, what? Oh yeah, you've lost the race, you know. I don't remember. Oh, it's mortal sin, original sin. There's no way to clean it. Fucking what? So this way, the head says, hey, you're already a self. Yeah? Now, the only option you got is to get out of it. Yeah? Which is the biggest form of inning. And most people don't find out, but the ones who do never not find out. Once you realize this is not about out, it's about are you in. That is it. The great wisdom of no escape is that there's nothing to escape from. So this isn't about outs, it's about are you in. If you're not in, there's no need to get out. That's relief. That's the freedom from the bondage of self. Yeah. I believe we all have that possibility, and I think it can be helpfully and healthily reinforced through satsang, through us getting together. I wouldn't do it like this every day, but every once in a while, and just entertain that space, because it's a giant aha. It has a lot of power. You may not see it. You may think it needs to. It's so quiet, and no, it's a huge yell. It's a huge scream in there. It's a huge power. Not because it doesn't have to last for a long time. A second is more than enough. Yeah. So much can be revealed in 1 second. change your life. I had it once. I was in the hospital getting an operation, and it was, they didn't put me out. They just gave me local, and they built a little wall because they were working on the lower part of my body. So they built the wall so I couldn't see what they were doing. And I could see all the people, and I was looking at these giant aluminum bowls with the lights in them. And I was just going off with probably with the anesthesia. And just something happened, right? And I got a free sample, and I felt super exquisite. Never felt like this as a human form, ever. And then the next reaction to it was, I would have put up with anything to this point for this, just for this moment. It gave meaning to all the shit that I would have loved to have absent, and made it all totally okay. Just like the tiniest slice, yeah, from this infinite pie. But it was so fucking, no one saw it, obviously, you know. It was just working on my leg. It was just one of those things. It was like, whoa, you know. Yeah. So I really feel that a lot of us have had it, where it tells you, you know, it's always been this way. I mean, you know, when you used to fuck up and you were soothed by someone, this is like the greatest soothing, really. It is. It's like an incredible calming, like, you know, like my grandma, you know, Nana taking care of me. Yeah. It's like that. And then you can just travel lighter. And maybe if you recognize that you're not present, you're the presence, yes, then what's present is available, and what's available and present is of service. You're going to be put to use. You're going to have a seed assignment. You may not even know the use you're being put to, but you're being put to use. Yeah, there's an energy because you're available and you're present. Yeah. That's not a requirement you have to attain or achieve. It's one you just see. You are present, and therefore you're available. And being that, you're of service. Yeah. And you'll find your seed assignment, like running a retreat, having kids, do that, whatever. Yeah. So, hey, any more questions? We're going to eat, I think, eh? Yeah, thank you. And if you have a question, let's go, but if not, we'll...
What do you think the slice of the pie about? What was it? Have you ever, like, elaborated on it?
No. That wouldn't do it justice, first of all. No. Some things stay in the sense-felt file. Yeah. Because once you claim something, the head does, you don't choose to give meaning. You give meaning. Through this, there's meaning given to things. Yeah. So it's great some things not to be named and put in any form, because then they shapeshift and do like stuff. Just like an opinion I have is there's too many diagnoses of things. Yeah, I'm sure tons of possibilities have gone through your body, and if you didn't stop and you named them, they would have probably left maybe, and you would have never even known. But there's so much giving name and form to shit. And because of the power that we are, there's meaning given to it. Have you ever seen someone who looked great and then they've heard they have something and they look terrible? I mean, what happened? They had the same thing the day before, they looked great, but now they heard it, yeah, and a name and the form and the meaning, and then like they totally fucking look terrible. This is the power, so yeah. I don't see the point of describing the indescribable, really. I'd rather just describe the describable. And then you'll find out you're the indescribable. I do. I believe that fervently. That's why we don't talk a lot about stuff. You're gonna have a joy of having your own experiences and other things. You know, there's no, oh, this means that. There's no graph, yeah? That's the fun of it. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be a unique expression. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you'll be more of an individual when you're not an individual. And you've never been one. But when that weight is off you, you're more of an individual, really, in action and in expression. Yeah, yeah, so, all right, I think that's it, eh? Yeah, yeah, thank you. And we're gonna eat soon. Yes, I thought there should have been longer clapping there. I thought. Yeah. Get better tomorrow.